So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vicki Lowry, and I'm the Program Director for Vision Loss Alliance of New Jersey. And also joining us is Elsa Zavoda, our Vice President of Programs.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi, Elsa.
So thank you for joining us this afternoon. And just as a reminder, this program is being recorded. We ask that you please mute yourselves, and after a few moments of quiet, we will begin. Welcome to Tech Talks, hosted by Vision Loss Alliance of New Jersey. Today we have with us Oran McAllister from NaviLens. NaviLens is an amazing technology that is available to you for free on your smartphone. The technology uses unique QR codes, which can help you identify items and orient to your surroundings in the community where it is available. You can also download a free NaviLens kit on the website to use for your personal usage in your home. Before I introduce our guest, I would like to share with you his bio. Oran McAllister is the Client Engagement Officer at NaviLens. Oran is tasked with developing new relationships and sustaining established partnerships with organizations, associations, and users of NaviLens around the world. His passion in the pursuit of accessibility not only comes from his professional background, but also stems from his personal experience. Before we move on to this afternoon's presentation, let's review our Zoom protocol. We ask that you hold your questions until Oran cues you. When you ask your question, we ask that you raise your hand. For those of you who dialed in, the raise your hand feature is *9. *6 will mute and unmute you, giving you the opportunity to ask your question. Using a computer, Alt-Y to raise your hand, Alt-A is the mute and unmute command. If you are using a Mac, use the option +Y, the keyboard shortcut to raise or lower your hand. Alt+A to mute and unmute yourself. Using the Zoom app on the iPad, move to the top right, select the More option, and flick down to the Raise Hand. On the iPhone, this feature is located at the bottom of the screen on the right side. And now we welcome to today's Tech Talks, Oran McAllister.
Thank you so much, Vicki, for that introduction, and thanks for all of the explanations. I was very tempted to sort of interrupt you there just to have a little bit of fun. But anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for inviting me today to speak to you all. Good evening from Spain. I believe it's afternoon there where you all are. No, it's a real pleasure to be here today. I have a great working relationship with Vicki and Elsa, and anything that I can do to sort of help sort of convey our message and talk a little bit more about NaviLens is a great opportunity for myself. So without further ado, I'll begin. I have warned everyone that I do tend to talk quite a bit, but I am going to try my best not to bore you all and try and keep this presentation to be reasonably within 20 to 30 minutes to allow for plenty of time for questions and everything afterwards. So what I thought I would do, first of all, is give you a little bit of the history of NaviLens, sort of where we came from, how we were developed, talk about then how it progressed over the years throughout the different areas that we work in, talk a little bit about what we're doing now, some of the projects that we're working on, and then also maybe tell you a little bit about the facilities that we have for all of you that you can use at home or that you can provide to any friends or any colleagues that you might wish to. Okay, so without further ado, so the history of NaviLens, where did NaviLens come from? So NaviLens basically came from a very common question. It's a simple question, but it was not a simple solution. And the question is, how do people who are visually impaired feel autonomous and independent in unfamiliar areas? This is a common problem in many areas around because traditional signage indications are not applicable or not available to anybody who is blind or partially sighted. This happens in all kinds of places: public buildings, shopping malls, hotels, public transport, hospitals, even in other locations such as schools, educational facilities. The list is endless. So our original thought was, well, why don't we put something onto the signage so that it could be read with a mobile phone camera? And our first thought was, we're all very familiar with the QR codes nowadays. Our first thought was a QR code. QR codes celebrate their 30th birthday this year. I don't know if you can believe that they've been around that long. The problem with QR codes is that they just don't work in the way that they are needed to for people who are blind and partially sighted. So QR codes, you need to know where the code is, you need to frame the code, you need to focus on the code, and then you need to enter into the information that is connected with the code. So it's just not going to function. So NaviLens, which is actually the startup company that started NaviLens, they contacted the University of Alicante here in Spain, and they started 5 years of intense research and development to try and create a new type of code, a code that could be scanned easily using the mobile phone or mobile device camera, and that would be much more useful than QR code. So after 5 years, the NaviLens code was created. Now, the NaviLens code is it's a colorful code. It's made up of a matrix of 5 by 5 squares, and those made up of different colors, which are cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Then it's surrounded by a black frame, and then with a white frame around that. So that's kind of the NaviLens code described. And the NaviLens code works differently from QR codes because it's a scannable code up to 60 feet away, and it can be scanned, and it will be scanned in only 0.03 seconds without the need to focus on the code itself. So a few of the unique features, other than the distance reading. So basically, it's kind of at least 12 times further away than a QR code. But we have wide angle reading. So you don't necessarily need to be right in front of the code in order to detect it. It's a 160-degree angle. So you can be at pretty much 80 degrees on either side of the code, and you still can detect that code. It can be read in all kinds of lighting conditions, as long as there's some sort of residual light to ensure that the camera can detect the code. But it doesn't need to be highly lit. It doesn't need to be in a very well lit area. It can be used in all sorts of lighting environments. It's super, super fast. And the codes can be read while in motion. So you don't need to know where the code is. You can be walking along, and if the camera is pointing out and the application is open, it will announce to you any codes that are in the local area or any codes that it can see. The precision is to the inch, so even half an inch or even less than that. So it's highly accurate, and no focus is required or framing when detecting the codes themselves. So we created the code. We're very proud of the code, but the most important thing at the beginning of the journey is we needed it to be validated. And our first step was to speak to, it's one of the largest organizations for people who are blind or partially sighted here in Spain. It's called ONCE, it's ONCE. So we contacted ONCE, and we basically, they were very intrigued, and they allowed us to use our codes and place our codes at one of their trade shows in Madrid way back in 2017. And just simply by putting our codes next to each of the stands within that trade show, it enabled all of the visitors to the show to be able to identify which stand was for which organization, association, or company. And then they had that choice again. So they had that independence to get that information. Then they had the independence or the ability to then make that decision. There was also wayfinding placed around the building so that people could find their way into the building, around the trade show itself, and also in order to get out of the building, as well as important areas like bathrooms, accessible entrances, and things like this. So we tested it there, and the feedback was amazing. We got such great reviews back from that particular experience that ONCE then decided, that's it, we're going to give you our seal of approval. And from there, we've started working with other associations and organizations around the world that work with people who are blind and partially sighted. One of my favorites is, and I think you know who this is the Vision Loss Alliance in New Jersey. So that's been added quite not too recently to the list, but it is definitely one that I have a great affection for. So from there, we started working with the associations who started promoting our materials, and then we started getting reviews. We actually appeared in the MIT technological review or technology review that were speaking about how amazing our codes are. Sorry, I'm not here to blow our own horn, but I have to do that a little bit when it's justified. So some of the cases then we started working on. One of the most important things, and I think you'll all agree, is that transport is a big issue. This is one of the biggest barriers for people in order to find employment, sustain their social life with their friends and their family, and also go about your daily business of getting to the supermarket, doing your day-to-day things. So transport was our first port of call, and it's what we wanted to sort of work on primarily. Now, NaviLens is based in Spain, and there was a few cities that showed quite a lot of interest, one of them being Barcelona. And in Barcelona, they decided, well, a lot of the users are able to get to the general vicinity of a bus stop, but how do you get to the bus stop? How do you solve those last few feet, those last few meters wayfinding issue? So what they did was they trialed our codes on a few bus stops in the city center, and basically by adding our NaviLens codes to the bus stops. Now, these codes were I think they were about 12 inches by 12 inches, and these codes were readable at about 60 feet away. And they put them on the bus stops are like an L shape, and they put them on both sides of the long part of the L and then on the outside of the short part of the L. And basically that made that bus stop visible within virtually a 360-degree range. These particular codes were added there, and they have an added feature, which is a magnet feature. This is a special feature that when you scan a particular code, it will automatically start to give you information on how to arrive to that code. It will tell you how far you are from the code. And if you start moving away from the code, it will give you instructions in order to get back in line until you safely arrive at the code. And then a lovely little extra was that when you arrive at the code, it would then automatically give you the real-time information of that particular bus stop. So telling you what is the next bus, how many minutes away it is, and where that bus is going to. And that information is renewed and provided. I think it's like a 30-second renewal. So the information is constantly renewed as the information on the actual digital screen is renewed. So we tested there. And again, what we wanted to do was get a bit of feedback from users. So we tested it with a group of users there, and the feedback was so great that Barcelona, the transport system of Barcelona, have now implemented NaviLens codes in all of their bus stops, which is, I believe, about 2,600 bus stops, and also on their entire metro system, which is 161, I believe, metro stations. And they're now currently working on their overground trains. But this also exploded within Spain, and we now have NaviLens codes present on metro systems, tram systems, bus systems, train systems in almost all of the major cities and towns around Spain. The last one to get on board with it was actually Madrid, the capital of Spain. But that was a much bigger project with, I believe, about 5,500 bus stops and 260, I believe it is, metro stations. And so we've now completed the bus stops in Madrid, and they're now working on the metro. And it's a great implementation that they have done there, because they've created in the metro stations an entire wayfinding experience. So using the tactile paving that's already in place in the station, we created an entire wayfinding system, as well as helping people find specific important locations around those stations. Now, from there, the interest in NaviLens started to grow dramatically. Way back in, I think it was 2000 and potentially 18 or 19, MTA in New York contacted NaviLens and began a pilot project on their bus system. That sadly was sort of halted because of the pandemic back in 2019, 2020. But we're back on track now. So we're back working on the MTA system in New York, amplifying NaviLens across the city. In fact, there was a $2 million federal fund put in place in order to assist with this project and putting NaviLens more across the entire network. So one of the beautiful things is that NaviLens can go easily with the signage that's already available. It doesn't have to have its own specific system to hold the sign. It basically can be created in order to fit in perfectly with whatever is in place. This is something that may not be so important to the users, but it can be quite important to the transport systems, because they want it to fit in to what they already have in place. And just by placing these codes, it provides all of that information. It helps you get to the system and then also helps you get the information that you require on the transport. One of the added benefits of NaviLens codes as well is that our application automatically translates the information on the codes into the language of the user's mobile phone. So for example, if you were to come here to Spain, which you're all invited whenever you would like to come, if you were to scan any of the transport systems, any of the codes that are placed around in Spain, the information is placed in Spanish, but if your mobile phone is in English, it will automatically translate that information for you. So no need to go in, change your settings to choose the language itself. That's something that is automatic for you. We've also worked on certain projects inside the vehicle as well. So not only helping you get to the transport, but when that transport arrives, so for example, at a bus stop, putting a NaviLens code on the bus enables you to know that that is and be 100% sure that that is the bus that you need to get on. We all know you wait 20 minutes for a bus and then 3 come at once. So that's a case of being able to identify which is the correct bus in that instance. But then inside the bus as well, inside these buses, you have information on how to get the bus to stop, or there could be also other health and safety information. Exit information. How do you access the bus with the accessible ramp? So there are ways of providing that information. We're using those codes on certain bus systems where they provide that information. And again, it's automatically translated into the language of the user. Okay. We're currently at 36 different languages. Okay. Indoor navigation. This is another bit of an issue, especially when you are in an area without any sort of GPS signal. So you can get to the entrance, but once you're inside, how do you maneuver inside? So our codes can be used in order to create a more wayfinding experience in these inside spaces. Basically starting your journey from the first point and then carrying through. Once you choose your destination, you can then arrive to your location safely. I know that in J Street Metrotech in New York, well, I think it's actually in Brooklyn, they have in place a system where you basically arrive at the station, you decide, I want to go to JFK Airport, and through a series of augmented reality and audible information, it will actually help guide you through the metro station until you get to the train that you need to take. Now, I've spoken before about the augmented reality, which is more visual, and the audible. So we have 2 versions of the application. We have NaviLens, which provides audible information for people who are blind or partially sighted. And then we have NaviLens Go, which is our sister application, and it's used to be more inclusive. It's more of a visual experience, but it can help people with who have low vision. So it detects the size of the text on your mobile phone, and it will increase the size of the text for you. You can also add sign language videos. You can add pictograms and easy to read text. So for people with cognitive impairment, this can be used also. So NaviLens itself more audible, and then NaviLens Go is more visual. So we've been working on a number of projects since then around the world. As I say, we've been working in New York, but we've also, I think there was a project in Philadelphia. I do believe there is one in Newark, New Jersey. You might have to confirm that with me later. I'm just telling you what I was told, but we are moving all around the world. We're now placed in the largest tram system in the world, which is in Melbourne, Australia. We did a pilot project there on quite a number of their stops, but they've now decided to amplify it and put it across every single part of the tram system. Singapore, Japan, numerous European countries. So that's a little bit about where we've got to with NaviLens. As I say, we're working on a few projects at the moment. Stateside, I think in San Antonio, Texas, they're also amplifying NaviLens across the system. We're in Los Angeles, I believe, in Union Station, the metro station. I didn't actually realize there was a metro system in Los Angeles, but there you go. So we're there, and there are a number of other projects that are going to be starting quite soon. We're also slightly north of the border in Canada as well, with numerous projects in Vancouver. I believe there's a project going to be starting soon in Montreal. Toronto, lots of projects, lots of things going on within the transport field. Now, transport is incredibly important, and we all know that. But one of the things about transport is that inside system. A lot of transport systems now have tactile paving that is placed inside the systems, inside their stations, inside their locations. Tactile paving is great, of course it is. It's 250 years old. It's a wonderful system. But I know that in certain unfamiliar situations, when you're following those tactile pavings for the straight line, it's taking you in a straight line. But when you get to that decision point where there's a blister paving, that's a decision point, but sometimes it's difficult to know what is the decision that you need to make. So we can actually use NaviLens code to provide you with contextual information depending on the direction that you arrive at that particular point. So if you're arriving from, I don't know, if there's a square in the middle and you're arriving straight on, it will tell you to the left, you have platforms 1 to 3, straight ahead, platform 4, turn right for platforms 5 to 10. But if you arrive from the left-hand side, it will say turn left to platform 4, straight ahead to platforms 5 to 10, and turn right for the exit. So we can create a system of wayfinding using tactile paving. So we can be integrated with the tactile paving that's available.
Oran, we have a couple questions if you wouldn't mind. Could I?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Ashley, go ahead.
Hi, Ashley. Oh, you're on mute, Ashley.
Let's see.
Let's see. I don't know, Vicky, can you unmute or no? I think
Yeah,
Ashley.
I can't. I did ask her to unmute.
Oh, okay.
In the meantime, we can go to the phone number ending in 3018.
Nobody wants to talk to me.
Joanne, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. No, I hit the wrong button, so
Oh,
I'm just trying to understand what this is better.
you joined a couple minutes late,
Yeah,
right?
I joined late. Yes, I joined
Okay,
late.
so Oren is talking about the NaviLens app that is
Yeah.
available.
Okay.
So I'm just giving a little bit of a history at the moment, Joanne, but I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of personal use codes that that might be helpful and useful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and Ashley is unmuted. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, hi. This is working.
Yes, we can
Hi,
hear you.
Ashley.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess I couldn't find the right button to press on Zoom. There's like so many of them. Anyway, it finally worked. So yeah, thanks for coming. And so I know you've discussed traveling, but I assume, well, two things is firstly I would assume this can work on both platforms, and Android and iOS. Is that accurate?
Yes,
And
that's absolutely correct. Yes.
awesome. Yeah, because like the first lady talking, I unfortunately missed a few because I was finishing up another Zoom meeting,
Okay.
ironically. But anyway, great. Secondly, this can apply to both indoor and outdoor settings, traveling, but I take it can also be used for other things, which you're getting to, like more personal type identification
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. I'm actually, I
Yeah.
think just sort of finishing up on the transport aspect. I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's
a little
cool.
bit about products and then other use cases. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, two quick travel things. Like, well, one thing is, I'm wondering, I don't use flat screens much. I usually just borrow my smartphone if I need to really use one. But so I'm not too familiar with how the QR codes work, and I guess I'm just wondering if you put a code on a movable object like a bus, I guess I'm not understanding how the device, how your phone or tablet is supposed to scan it, and you even know where it is, because like a bus is so like big, it's like
Yeah.
20 feet tall, and the code thingy is what, just like an inch long, probably like a sticker.
Well,
So I'm just wondering about that. And then also how, I was wondering, how are you gonna roll this out to all cities ideally? Like for me, for example, Washington DC Transit Metro
that's
here,
that's the
and
dream, Ashley. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
It's kind of a work in progress at the moment. You know, we need to kind of be out there. What we're doing is we're working in implementations globally, because we're still reasonably quite young. I mean, nobody wants to count those 2 years of the pandemic. So, you know, in Sydney, we're sort of like 5 years old, where, you know, you need to build that confidence, you need to build the awareness, but there definitely is big movement on the US side. Now, if it's going to come from a federal government level, a state level, that they're going to be funding this, then you know that there is some confidence in it. So we're just working on that and building it and building it. So hopefully, because DC, I absolutely love that city, and I would love to be able to say that NaviLens is on the transport system there. Getting back to your first question about a moving bus. So this is one of the unique things about NaviLens codes. They're not like QR codes. Because of the way that they're made and created, they're actually much more dense, so they can be detected from much further away. They can be detected while you are moving or even while they are moving, and they can be detected at wide angles, so you don't need to specifically know where the code is. Basically,
Oh,
if you're within like a 160-degree angle, you can detect that code if you're within the distance. Now, the codes can be created in any size that you want. They can go from 1 inch up to, I don't know, as big as you need the codes to be. I know that in the UK, in one bus station, they have a code. Now, I need to do my mathematics here. So it's about 10. It's about 20 inches by 20 inches. And I was getting that from about 100 feet away. So that solves that issue. So it's not like your typical QR codes where you need to know where
oh,
it is. So you can detect them while moving.
oh, okay. Glad for the clarification because I've seen QR codes occasionally, and you do have to be
Mm,
literally right on them, like to scan, like
no.
scan QR codes in restaurants. So I wasn't sure how this would work,
Yeah.
but you're just saying it's more flexible. Okay. And and whoever's making the sign, like the audible message, I mean the audible sign in the QR code. I mean, yeah, or whatever it's called, the NaviLens sticker.
Fabulous.
But yeah, I mean that whoever's making it, can they include more information than is visually present, or do they have to stick with
No,
what
there's no
everyone
rules
else?
on that. Our general rule would
Okay,
be,
good.
actually, is try to keep the information the same. Try to keep it equal. However, there are certain cases where more information may be required. You know, we say
Yes.
work with the signage that's available, but you know, not all elevators, escalators, stairs have signs. So we always
Yes.
understand that yes, you can add more information. You can add voice or sound clips. You can add any, you can add hyperlinks, you can add all sorts of information to the codes. It doesn't have to be strict like that. No.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, because sometimes a blind person might, or visually impaired person might need more information
Mhm.
than like
Understood.
than what's written down because sighted people can see like I'm thinking like sighted people can see arrows and other visual symbols, but
Mhm.
we may not see those, so that's why we would need more information.
Absolutely. 100%
Yep,
agreed.
got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Matt?
Yes, I was thinking, like when you put them on the bus stop, will it show when the bus is coming and like, so let's say you're at the right corner, will it say you're on Main Street?
Mhm.
Will it say like what street you're on to make sure you're at the right bus stop?
Well, unless the street itself, I mean, usually what we try and recommend is that it doesn't just say bus stop. It will actually give you a bus stop and a bus stop number. It might even, it depends on what information the transit authority wants to add to that code. But sometimes they add the actual name of that particular bus stop. So this is bus stop 192 on the corner of High Street and mm, Washington Avenue. I don't know. I'm I'm sort of just going with the flow there. But I mean, there are ways of adding that extra information. I mean, there usually would be some sort of indication, especially with a metro station. The metro station would announce this is, you know, J Street Metrotech in Brooklyn. So it would announce that information. But I think a lot of the bus station, the bus stops usually provide you with that information as well, some indication as to which one it is.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And one more, Lori.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Laurie.
Two questions, I guess. One was the app just had an update for NaviLens Go. While we were implementing it at VLANJ, I was the person who brought it to them with the home kit. Got so excited how this could be used, you know, in location for people to get around. But using it, we discovered, you know, it said NaviLens Go, recommend use NaviLens for voiceover users. But there was an update that said NaviLens Go was updated for voiceover improvements. So what's the real difference between the two for a voiceover user? Why do you say use NaviLens versus NaviLens Go?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, I think what the case was originally for the voiceover or screen readers, NaviLens Go was functioning at a better way, but with this new update, we've actually made NaviLens equally functional with voiceover and screen readers. So that was the whole point of this new system. It was a sort of a rejig of the original version, and now it actually works much better for voiceover.
So they're both equal now at this point for a voiceover user?
They should be. Yeah, I mean, we generally recommend the use of NaviLens itself for anyone who has any sort of vision impairment, because now it works much better because it provides not only audible, but it functions better with the location, the magnet feature, all of these additional benefits and screen reader. Yeah.
Okay, great. And you said you were going to talk more about the home kit, because that's what originally brought me to bringing it to VLA.
Perfect. Yeah, I want to just sort of touch on how to access those and maybe, you know, give some ideas of how they could be used. Also, yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No spoilers. Okay, so thanks for the questions, guys. What I'll do now is I'll just talk a little bit about our journey with accessible packaging. Now, this seems to be something that's taken off a little bit more over here in Europe. It's starting in the US. We're hoping that it's going to take off there as well, because we are finding that people are really enjoying this accessible packaging, being able to find products in store, just using the NaviLens code and without having to know exactly where the particular products are. So back in, I think it was 2020, we started our journey with Kellogg's. They put one of our codes on one of their boxes for World Sight Day, and they put it out into the market and did some testing. And again, the feedback was great. There was lots of people coming back with positive feedback saying, this is amazing. Now, being able to find my Cocoa Pops, it was, in the supermarket without having to ask, without having to require any assistance. So the feedback was great, and Kellogg's then decided, right, well, that's it. This is Kellogg's Europe, by the way. Kellogg's then decided to put NaviLens codes on all of their products. So all Kellogg's products, every one of them in the UK, Europe, over here, all carry the NaviLens codes on them. We've now branched out into other products. I don't know if you knew this, but Pringles is owned by Kellogg's. A number of products from the Procter & Gamble range, which includes shampoos, certain healthcare, also clothing care products, so washing powders, washing things, numerous products. So, and it's branching out also into frozen products, and we're working on some really nice little projects at the moment that are going to bring NaviLens into the fridge area of the supermarket as well. So we're working with I think it's almost in around 30 products over here in Europe at the moment that carry the NaviLens codes. In fact, we worked with Coca-Cola last year at Christmas as well, so that was quite cool. I think in the US, Kellogg's have started the process. It's now on, I believe, 4 of the products, which are cornflakes, Special K, Rice Krispies, and Crispix, I believe. Now, you may have to correct me. I can check that information in a bit. So they've started the process there, which is great. Entenmann's has also put the NaviLens code on some of their products also. And we believe that this year there will be some more movement. We can't really talk about things. There's always an NDA attached to many of these projects. But once we get some information, we'll be definitely passing it along to the VLA New Jersey and letting them know about any progress that's being made. So products has been great because it enables people to have that little bit more independence in store. One of the things we are trying to work on at the moment, and we're talking to numerous supermarkets, people who work within the supermarket industry, is explaining that it's great that products have the codes on them, but supermarkets themselves really could do with a certain amount of wayfinding assistance, even if it's just as simple as telling people what products generally are on each aisle. This is, household cleaning, clothes cleaning, cereals, just to give that little bit of extra information so that people then have that little bit more freedom to choose. So our journey with products has been great. It's been going really well. And I think this year is going to, there's going to be a little bit more excitement about that as well. We've also worked in Murcia here in Spain, where they've added NaviLens codes to all of the street signs in the city center, not only helping people know where they are, but also actually they're providing additional information. So actually tourist information telling you why this street is famous, what it's famous for. So being sort of a little bit more of an interesting experience for the users. We also have started working with a museum in Murcia. It's a tactile museum, an archaeological museum where users were encouraged to touch the objects within there. Our codes are being used there, and they're also using the sign language, pictogram, and easy to read text facilities as well, providing information for all visitors. And this is now becoming quite it seems to be a big movement in this because we're working on projects in Switzerland, in the UK, and even in North Carolina, in Beaufort. I don't know if you're familiar with it, in the Maritime Museum there. We're also currently working on a few other projects as well, making museums and art galleries and art exhibitions more accessible. In fact, one I recently worked on, and it just, I think, opened yesterday. I've been working closely with guide dogs in the UK, where they have created an art trail around a region of London. They've created statues of a guide dog, and they've put 25 of them around, and each one has been designed by a different artist, or also by people who are blind or visually impaired, and they've been designed and created and placed around, and they've added NaviLens codes to these to provide the same information that's on the statue, talking about giving a description, talking about who the artist was, and also giving some information on the location of the other art statues as well. So it's been really cool process, sort of branching out into other areas. Not only that, but we're also working in many other locations. We're working now with universities, educational institutions, many associations around the world, office spaces now as well. In fact, we are going to be creating an office, a free office kit. So for any of you who may wish to use NaviLens codes in your office space to indicate common areas and common objects around an office, we're going to be working on that very soon. Events, concerts, music venues, festivals, even outdoor parks are starting to use the codes also. So there is definitely a lot of growth outside of transport and products themselves. Now, if I can take a little moment just to tell you a little bit about our free codes. So we do have access to NaviLens codes. We have free personal codes that you can request within the NaviLens application by going into the main menu and choosing Request NaviLens Codes. We have our personal codes, which are programmable codes that you program with your own mobile device. So they're created in a format that they're easy to print, fold, and separate. They come in all different sizes. And when you first scan the code, you then add the information that you want and then add it to whatever item or whatever it may be. Lots of our users use these codes for like frozen food obviously in the freezer, items in and around the kitchen. Some people even put it on their, I forget what it's called. We call it a Roomba. It's like the robot vacuum cleaner. Sometimes it runs out of battery, so it's an easy way to find it. One lady in Ireland says her husband never puts the remote control back in its correct place, so she has put a NaviLens code on the remote control. People who are traveling add them to their luggage, even on just luggage labels or as stickers. And some people are actually placing them on their clothes to help identify clothing. So there's so many different ways of using these free personal codes. Now, each set of codes, so if you and your friends order them, you still all get the same set of codes. So the information is personal to your mobile phone. When you program that information, only you can see that information. If someone else tries to scan that, they will not get that information. However, you can share the information on these codes with up to 5 different family and friends through the family and friends function of NaviLens. So anyone who comes to visit your house and you want to share that information, you can do that with them also. So the personal codes are there for everyone to use. We've also created some free pre-programmed or pre-recorded NaviLens kits. These are kits that can be used by any of the organizations that we've prepared them for. So we have an associations kit, we have an education kit, we have a library kit, we have a health center kit, we have an events kit. I feel like I'm forgetting one. I apologize, but these are pre-programmed codes, so you cannot change them, but it does enable organizations and locations like these to place the codes to make it a little bit more accessible. They're based on common and generic locations and items that are found in each of these spaces. So, for example, in a school kit, you would find electrical outlets, classroom 1, classroom 2, classroom 3, school reception, gym. There's even a tornado shelter code in there as well. So we provide all of these codes that can be used in and around any of these facilities. We're constantly trying to work and improve on these. I'm pushing for a hospitality one that can maybe be used in like cafes and restaurants. And also a bathroom kit. This is one that a lot of our users are saying they really could do with, because going into a bathroom and having to find your way around an unfamiliar bathroom is unpleasant at best. So that's something I'm really pushing for on our side, that we can create kits so that anyone, any business, organization, anyone in the world can place these smaller codes in and around bathrooms to help people when they access them. One of our new features as well is the NaviLens accessible QR code. As we spoke before, QR codes are not accessible, but some people don't really currently, they find it difficult to get away from the QR code system that's already in place. We've created a new system where you can make these QR codes accessible by adding the NaviLens technology to them. So you basically take the code or create a new code, you add the same information, but what we can do through our website is it's like a NaviLens frame, which means you can detect that code from a distance and at wide angles, and also access the information contained within that QR code much more easily. I'm just checking to see, Vicky, have I missed anything?
I don't think so.
I mean, I should know. I should know. But I'm just kind of trying to, I think, I wanted to go through it quite quickly because I know that, people will have some questions and everything. But, if you do have any questions, do feel free to get in touch with Vicky, Elsa. They're more than happy to share my email or even share it after this meeting. Please feel free to share it. Or go to our website, which is www.navilens.com. NaviLens, NaviLens.com, and you can find more information there. Okay, I'll take a little breath and let someone maybe. I think I saw that Matthew had his hand up again. Maybe did you have a question, Matthew?
No, it was just a comment I had. That's all. I was
Okay.
gonna say, and that's we took a trip years ago with the Boy Scouts down to Florida. Instead of the this would have been a good idea now, but you were given a device and they type in a number and it describes like what's in the room. Like to your left is a bathroom, to the right is a showcase. What's with the rocket it describes.
I mean, it's something kind of similar, I mean, there's so many different technologies, and now with the sort of advancement of AI with Be My Eyes and various applications, there's so many different ways of being able to access information. But our codes pretty much do that same thing. It provides that kind of a description of something, or can whatever information you want to put on the NaviLens code can be placed there. In fact, something I didn't mention as well, we're going to be in the next, I think, week or so, the first book containing a NaviLens code is going to be releasing in the UK. Lucy Edwards, who is a blind she's a YouTuber, influencer, TikToker. She pretty much does it all. Lucy lost her sight at the age of 17, and she's just turned her life around completely. Like, she was the face of the Pantene shampoo campaign, and now she's releasing a book called Blind Not Broken. That is available worldwide. She would kill me if I didn't tell everybody that it is available worldwide, but there's so many different ways that the codes can be used, Matt. So, I mean, any situation you ever feel that it can be used, feel free to get in touch with me, and I'm more than happy to sort of, reach out to people and make suggestions. I don't want to push NaviLens on people. I always want people to kind of realize that they have a need and that we're a potential option.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wish I knew about this. I went to Spain this past summer.
Oh, where did you go?
I've been on all of. I was in Spain twice. I've been Barcelona. I forgot else I was. I went to the Cathedral of St. James.
Oh, lovely. Nice. Well, I live in Valencia. I don't know if you've been here,
Yes,
just down the coast from Barcelona. Really nice place. Oh, that's a
yes. I've
next
been.
time you
I've been to.
come, tell me.
Thank you so much again.
And I have to say, as this is Vicky, as Lori mentioned before, she actually introduced us as an organization to NaviLens. And I am very proud to say that we have rolled it out. So for any of you that come to our in-person programs in Denville, in New Jersey, we have NaviLens codes set up throughout our space to help individuals orient to our program space. We're still kind of going through and updating and tweaking to make sure that we have the proper descriptions, but it was really exciting for us to roll it out.
It's one of the good things because you will have full control over the information you have in there, and if you need to make a change, it can be done instantly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ashley, you have a question?
Yeah. Is
Ash.
is this good to hear me from here?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, hi. I was wondering, so these are little, sounds like they're little like sticker type things to put on the packages or other types of things to label. So yeah, if I was wondering if I'm understanding that right, like you attach it to an item like a folder, or maybe a book that you want to label or some other type of belonging. I guess the question is, what type of material can it be affixed to? And would you say that these are reusable? Or I'm asking because, like, what if you want to put it on like different type of like cans of food, like you have a can of food, but then you use it, then you want to put on your next can of food. So I was just wondering, are they reusable? Or are they so affixed to it, like sticky, that wouldn't be, like it wouldn't be doable? And like how many come when you order something like this, like in a package?
Yeah, great questions. Thank you for that. So yeah, there's a few different ways when you print them off. So you can print them off onto different materials. Some people just print them onto paper, and then they use Scotch tape and attach them. And then when they're done with it, they throw it in the bin, and then they just take another code and reprogram it. Currently, you can, if you access the first batch of codes, there are 100 codes. But if you
Oh,
go into the family and friends section of the application, so where you would go to share the information, you can create an account. You don't need to create passwords and all this thing. It's quite straightforward, but you create an account and then you have access to, I think it's up to 1,000 of these codes. So what are some of our users? They print them onto paper. They maybe attach a little bit of something sticky at the back. It could be some sort of tack or with Scotch tape, and attach them, and then just kind of discard them. And there's so many that you can use them again. A lot of our users, and this might require a bit of assistance, do laminate the codes and then have someone help cut them up. So that makes them much more durable, and then they can attach them to so many different things. And then when they're done, they take it off and attach it to something else. But if you wanted to say, for example, take it off a can of green beans and put it onto a new packet of salt, for example, you just simply go in and you change the information. So you don't need to, you can reuse the same code. You just rename it, and then, yeah. So, and you can put them on stickers as well. So if you did want them to be a little bit more permanent, you can get like sticker paper. I don't know, for things maybe like if you have I don't know, a photograph and you want to add a description of what's in the photograph, so that every time you scan it, it'll say, this is a picture of me and my mom on a holiday, I don't know, or something like this. So that it depends on how permanent you want it to be. Obviously, if you want to put a code maybe outside somewhere, one of our users puts them in her garden. So she puts information about the different flowers and the different plants and the different sort of food that she needs to give these different plants. And so being out in the open, in the sun, in Ireland with a lot of rain, we get a lot of rain in Ireland, the codes can wear over time, but it's just a case of reprinting and replacing the code.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh,
in
oh,
fact, also, sorry, just one more thing, sorry, because you've sort of
sounds
stimulated
good.
me to, and some users have actually bought iron-on paper, and what they've done is they've been able to print the codes onto this. They separate the codes, and then they iron these codes onto their clothing, and then they add the information onto their clothing. Now, these are usually washable iron-on labels, so that when they bring out their washing, they still have access to the information of what each item is and what color it is, what size it is. So yeah, sorry.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, because I was about to ask if you could put it on clothes, so I guess you kind of answered that already. That
Except I'm thinking
if
ahead.
the certain material can go in the washing machine.
Mm.
All right. And I assume the app is free to
Yes,
okay.
most importantly, application is free to download. The only time you ever need to give any personal information is if you wish to get the extra codes from the family and friends. We will never, no one should ever ask you to pay for it. We will never ask you for any other information. In fact, when a code is scanned, we don't collect any information about you. We have no knowledge about you personally. So privacy is very important to us for the users.
Great. Thank you. Glad to hear that.
Welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Well,
Comment?
this is Zarita Crowell. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I definitely can see the use. I mean, me and my friends are always mixing up our canes and our coats. So if we could put tags on our coats and our canes, that would be so great. Oh my
I
God.
know. I mean,
It's
this,
awesome.
yeah, no, I think, and the only limit really is your imagination for the things that you can do with these codes,
Right.
We've one large code. It's like an A4. I don't know if that's
Mhm.
SA4 or whatever, but she puts it on the front of her house so that when her friend is coming in a taxi,
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
she might know the number, but not all houses have numbers in front. So as the
Mhm.
friend is passing, the friend basically holds up the phone and can say to the driver, "That's the house."
Right, right.
So many great ways to sort of use it and have fun with it as well.
Oh, wow. And it's actually very environmentally friendly, you don't have to have all these electronic air tags all over the place.
This is the thing, no battery required. You do need the
Mhm.
mobile phone. That's the one thing. You need the
Yeah.
mobile phone. You need to download the application.
Mhm.
We're in talks to try and get it a little bit more easy access so you don't have to, well, now with Siri, it's like, "Hey Siri, open up,
Mhm.
my Siri is listening to me, open up NaviLens," so you can access it quite quickly and get in there. But yeah.
Mhm. And then you just hold your phone up about what you're saying,
Well,
90 degrees up or whatever.
I mean, I would always say, because look, there is a safety issue about being out in public,
Sure.
holding your phone out in front of you.
Mhm.
We often recommend hold the phone close to your chest and just
Okay.
because the codes, if a code is on the floor, yes, a slight tilt forward is always very helpful, but generally
Okay.
the code should be detectable just by holding it to your chest. Some
Okay.
people use like sort of like a lanyard with a pouch, or
Mhm.
some people have there's like um a, a mobile phone cover that you can reverse, and it comes with a clip on the back, so you can clip it to a bag so it's a little bit more secure, or
Mhm.
put it in a pocket. As long as the camera is pointing outwards, it'll be functioning.
Okay.
We are working now. I can't talk about it too much, but I do think the cat is out of the bag. We
Mhm.
are going to be doing some testing with one of these new sets of glasses
Okay. Okay.
to see if it will be compatible with NaviLens. So I know there's so many of these new different types of glasses. There's the Ray-Ban Meta. There's I don't know. I can't remember. There's some of
Yeah.
the other ones anyway.
Yeah. I know about those. Yeah, but I was also thinking about that, holding the phone out, you worry that you're going to get it knocked out of your hand,
Exactly.
whatever, but holding it close to your chest, if you're able to use it that way, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very much. Take
Oh,
care.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Matt, you have another question?
I think you're on mute, Matt.
Sorry, it
No.
might be a good idea to put them by store entrances. Let's say I'm on Main Street in the mall. You're passing ShopRite, or you're in the mall. You're
Mhm.
passing Old Navy. You're passing Gap. If I want the Gap, that's where I go in.
That is an amazing idea. We have worked on a shopping mall in Madrid, and each of the shops inside the mall have a NaviLens code outside the front, basically saying what each shop is. Absolutely, 100% agree with you. I mean, just being able to have your options, what is that shop? And yeah, I want to go in there, or I don't want to go in there. It's a great idea, Matt, and hopefully one day, we'll be talking about this meeting, saying, "Do you remember when we talked about that?" And now it's a reality. Maybe.
Because I know. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on ahead. Go on ahead.
No, I was gonna say a couple of times stores moved, in the mall. So
Yes.
I might go into Old Navy instead of the Gap, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just by having the code outside, you would know, because if they move it, all they have to do is just move the code or change the information. So if Old Navy becomes a Gap, they just need to change the information to say Gap, and then Old Navy will have their new code. Or yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, Oran, thank you so much. This was a great presentation, and we learned that really your options are limitless with this. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just the imagination is
Yeah.
the and this has been a great opportunity, you know, and thank you so much again for inviting me today. But, you know, just working with NaviLens has actually really opened up my own mind as well. I know you mentioned in my bio that, you know, I have personal experience of this. Well, both of my parents suffer from, well, I don't want to say suffer because that's not the right word, but they both have sight loss. My father is registered blind. My mother has tunnel vision because of a tumor. So I understand the difficulties, but until I started working with NaviLens, I didn't really truly understand it, if that makes any sense. So just working with all of you amazing people, like bringing so much I don't know, so much information and so much I'm trying to enthusiasm and fight. I mean, I just love it. It's really changed my whole perspective, and I want to thank you all. And yeah, sorry.
No,
It's
thank
late. I'm just starting to ramble. I apologize. I
No,
apologize.
and we thank you so much for, joining us, especially because of the time difference. And thank you to everyone on the call for coming on earlier. We really appreciate it. And Oran, once again, thank you. And as always, please remember to follow our Tech Talks Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And everyone have a wonderful evening and be well.
Have a good day, everyone. I see you
Thanks.
guys tomorrow.
Sounds good, Matt. We'll see you tomorrow. Oran, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You
Thanks
all
for
next
the
month,
Again, Warren.
hopefully.
You.
Aw.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Be well, everyone.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Happy
Bye.
spring.
Bye.
Bye-bye.